Hello folks, I'm OdinSpack 33 and welcome to this week's Faxanadu Randumizer Seed of the Week. This is for September 24th. I know it's not September 24th, but that's when this Seed of the Week was uploaded. If you are curious, by the way, in checking out the Randomizer at all, and you want to get in on it, this video is going to be great because first off, you should check out the description for the Discord link to the community for it, where you can find the program, where you can find the Seeds of the Week, and you can engage with the community. So very helpful. And then secondly, this video is going to be a very how to play guide on the randomizer. What's going on in my mind as I play through this, what you should expect when playing the randomizer, and what's kind of the skill barrier, what's where to start, where to go up from. I'm going to try to cover as much as I can throughout this video. Before I even press start here, you should notice a couple of things on my screen. So everything you can see on screen right now, which is the game, my tracker, and the timer, that's all I have up too. I mean, I do have up recording programs and stuff, but I mean, you don't need any of that stuff besides the game. That's all you really need. I use an item tracker for you, so that way you can kind of know what's going on in my brain as I'm playing that I might not vocalize, because in my head I'm going to be like, oh, I have this item, I can do this, or maybe I might forget something. That's what I really use the item tracker for. So it's a very handy tool. You don't need it. The timer also, you don't have to time yourself. Why is it set to -11 right now? Well, the Faxanadu speed runs, when you hit start here, it counts down from 11.3, but technically Faxanadu speed running starts as soon as you can control your character, so that's just kind of the universal thing that's used for this. This seed today is a beginner-friendly seed versus the standard ones that are usually the norm within the Discord community for the randomizer. So hopefully this is a really good entryway into figuring out how to play this at all. So why don't we get going with it, and I'll kind of explain everything, and we'll still use a timer, even though I might slow down and kind of talk about some things. So here we go. 3, 2, 1, go. Also, we have palette rando on. It looks really vanilla right now. Maybe that was a mistake, or it just happens to look real nice now, and it won't in a second. Okay, definitely there it is. So here's the starting screen right here. Immediately in randomizer, normally there would be this long intro text, but in the randomizer you get a random item that's usually not important. This is a black potion. If you watched the last one, I talked about this. It's a brand new item to randomizer that heals your magic, which is not a feature of the original game. Now, one thing in the randomizer is if you talk to NPCs, they actually this is kind of funny considering I was just talking about the black potion there. They actually give you hints sometimes. Sometimes they don't. Sometimes they just give you little random things from the community. But if you're playing a beginner-friendly seed, normally these are set to give you hints. Now, for this seed of the week, they're not, so we won't be talking to any NPCs. But if you're playing this for the first time, you're playing beginner-friendly, it's not a bad idea, honestly, to talk to the NPCs and get some help, and that might lead you in the right direction. But the first thing you want to do when you're starting the randomizer is you want to go to the guru, but what you can also do is we have a kill switch, which if you just press start, select, and start, this will warp you to the last guru that you saw, and because we haven't seen a guru yet, it just starts you at the beginning one. So this is it's a really handy feature. It's not normally turned on for beginner friendly, but for this seed of the week it is. It's definitely, I would recommend this setting. I would just check it off anyway if you are generating your own seed. But here we go. So we're not getting an item right now, which means that the item that the guru would give us is actually, we have it already. So he probably would have given us a black potion. So whatever, that's no big deal. You'll also notice that I have the sword, the armor, and this ring of elf already checked off on my randomizer. You always start with the Ring of Elf unless you're playing with ring randomized settings like I did last week. And you always have leather armor. Doesn't do anything. It just is your armor. But weapon, the longsword is pretty much the standard start for beginner and standard seeds. Once we get into the other settings, it can be other things, but it's usually the longsword, which is why it's already checked off on my tracker there. So, what we're gonna do right now is we're gonna go to the key shop before I actually, no, do we not have fast start on? Oh, right, we do. So, so I really shouldn't have started right away, because you may have noticed we actually had 1,500 gold in our inventory, and that's another setting on the randomizer, just to help things go along faster. You just start with the 1,500 gold that you would normally have to talk to the king over here to get in the original game. So I shouldn't have selected start, but I did, so it doesn't matter. So we can get it back. At any time your gold drops to exactly 0, you can talk to the king again and get 1,500 gold. You can do that in the original game too. So if you just take a death, you'll have 0 gold. That's one way to do it. Or if you cleverly spend your money in these shops, you can also end up with 0 gold, which is a lot easier to do in the original game than not. But one thing that's really important to know in Aeolus, the starting town, is everything's very cheap here. You'll be able to, really get your money's worth for the 1,500. Now, I think 200 is the most that these J keys normally are. We're gonna buy 3 of them off the get-go, because it's all we're gonna, in theory, need, but it's possible we could need a 4th, but chances are they won't be cheaper after this. They could be, but I would rather just not even take the chance and just pick them up now, because we're gonna need to anyway. So this is kind of how each randomizer seed starts here, is you getting all your equipment. So you'll always see a red potion for sale in towns, and then Aeolus is always going to have a weapon, which is usually a longsword, like I mentioned, and a spell. These settings can be changed, but you're going to see these. If you're playing with screen rando, which beginner mode does not have, you'll also see the wing boots in here too. But we're not, so so we don't need to worry about that. Fire, I really like this spell a lot. It's really fast, travels across the screen, knocks enemies away. It's pretty fun. And then another little quality of life change in the randomizer. I'm going to be talking about a lot of quality of life changes too. You've already noticed the fast start where we started with 1,500 gold. Our life and magic meter is also healed right off the get-go in this. But you can equip stuff in the shops. You still can't use weapons in the stores, but you can equip them, which is really cool. A really helpful feature for sure. And so I don't have enough money for anything, so we're actually gonna take another death. I'm gonna drop my money down to 0 again, and we're actually going to go back to the king, get some more money, and stock up on like a potion or 2. Not really like I need to do this, but it just is not bad to have. And then if you've ever played Faxanadu, you're immediately gonna notice that these enemies are not the same. In beginner or standard seeds, enemy rando is always on, and it's pretty nice, honestly. Like, I don't think there's anything that's ever too crazy about enemy rando. It definitely keeps it fresh. It'll only change the bosses with other boss enemies, like the really big enemies. But once you start going into some different settings, that does change. You can get some boss enemies on top of regular enemies sometimes, and vice versa, which isn't as exciting. And then enemies will drop random things. They'll either drop gold, bread, which heals you, or nothing. And the amount of that is random too. But it's also like these bee enemies here, like they will always, every bee in this seed will drop whatever they just dropped, which I think was like 120 or 80. It was pretty good. So that's not bad. And and experience is also random too. So all those things are randomed amongst all the enemies in those pools. So. Alright, we're gonna pick up some red potions, because why not? And like I said, there's no screen rando in beginner-friendly settings. I really like screen rando, but if you're new to playing randomizer, I would definitely recommend, if you played Faxanadu and you want to like try out the randomizer, screen rando might not be the first thing you want to do, because it's definitely like a pretty advanced setting, I would say. And then eventually it gets, it can get pretty nuts. But after playing rando so much, like, I'm very familiar with the screens, which makes screen rando very fun. You'll also notice many new like enemy types in this, and they're like beta enemies that you wouldn't normally that were like in the code, but they weren't a thing. So now they're a thing now. So some of them are really annoying. I should also point out that spells, some enemies are immune to certain spells, and that's randomized too. So I just showed you there that fire went through that enemy. You'll know an enemy is immune to it if the spell goes through them, and that's a quality of life change, because there were some enemies in the original game that are immune to the death spell, but it hits them like in the original game like nothing happened, or like something happened, but it's actually doing no damage. But in the rando, it goes through them to show you like, oh hey, this isn't doing anything. So a really nice quality of life change there. This palette is super bad. It's not good at all. I don't like it whatsoever. And then I would say another feature that maybe you might want to turn on even if you're playing beginner friendly, but maybe not, is you might want to turn on door rando to change like maybe some of the entrances on the world. But they're not going to be different in beginner friendly, so this is always going to be a shop here. And we have two very important items, the ruby ring, which we need to leave this world. So we'll grab that. And we also need an ace key. So we'll pick that up as well. We're actually going to grab two. I want to say this has been added as of this seed, but a new feature has been added to the randomizer where you can actually sell any item to a shop now for 100 gold. In the original game, and we can test this out in the next town, but in the original game and in the randomizer, you can only sell items to a shop that carries those items that you have. But you'll notice that like this shop doesn't sell red potions or jack keys or black potions, so they're all 100. But because it does carry the ace keys, we can sell them for half of what they're selling, kind of like a standard RPG. And that's how it normally is. So this is actually a brand new feature to Randomizer that I'm actually seeing for the first time. So, you know, and depending on how old this video is, you know, that might date this a little bit, but really nice quality of life change. Most of the time you can use all of your items, but definitely if you have any extra keys, that's a really helpful feature now. And maybe sometimes it might even sell for more, but more than 100 than it normally would, but probably not. That's probably not a thing you would end up doing a lot, so. It's just really to dump items that you can't use like keys, really. Anyway, there's nothing too important there. There is wing boots. We may come back to get those. I'm not gonna bother even checking what's there. It's just jack keys, and who knows, they might sell for more, but I'm not gonna worry about it. So these gurus here, these are save points in the game. Whenever you die, you in Faxanadu Randumizer, you go back to the last guru that you've seen. In the original game, the save points are kind of like progressive, but in Randomizer, the last guru you see is the last one that, like, when you die, you go back to. So if we start select, or, you know, actually die, then we'll go back there. All right, and I gotta make sure I'm not dying here. I don't know what I'm doing. Just running into enemies right now. Man, you can tell it's been a while. You know, like I said, as of this recording, I haven't even been at my computer in a week. We just moved. This is the very first video I'm recording since the move, which is kind of nuts. But I just really wanted to. I had a blast recording the Faxanadu Randumizer last week, and when I saw the seed of the week was a beginner-friendly one, I was like, this is perfect. So this tower needs a jack key, so I already do that. I played Faxanadu a bunch of times, so and the Randomizer. So my knowledge of the game, you know, is really helpful for finding stuff. All right, and this screen is gonna be our first screen where an item will drop. It's gonna drop up this ledge here. Man, I might need one of these red potions real soon. Hopefully this guy drops bread. No. So in the original game, you would have to like jump in and out of screens 4 times, and there's a really complicated math thing. I mean, it's not super complicated, but anyway, none of that in Faxanadu Randumizer. If an item has a screen, or if a screen has an item in it, it will always drop. If it's not already like on screen already. Sometimes they just are already there. It's kind of hard to see the floor with this tile set. I bet it records better than what I'm seeing right now. No, sometimes I'll go back and look at the recording and be like, you know, the colors kind of look better in my recording than they do on screen. I don't know what that's about, but that's not really important. But yeah, so like items, in the world. I think that's a great accessibility feature, great quality of life thing for, because if you're new to the game, you might not know where all the items are. And even if you're not new to Faxanadu, you still might not know where a lot of the random minor items are. I certainly didn't know where all those were. I hate these enemies, by the way. They kind of like follow you. They were not in the original game. They were a beta enemy, and I'm glad they stayed that way because I am not a fan of them whatsoever. But yeah, like, I've played Faxanadu a ton of times, and even some item locations, I didn't know where they were. So here's the Mattock. We need this to progress here, so we're gonna grab it. We might grab another one, actually, because you can actually use Mattocks for shortcuts in this game. So I'm gonna grab a second one, and then we'll see what's in this next screen here. I'm thinking of death warping. I mean, it would probably be a good idea, but I kind of want to keep this cache for wing boots, unless there's some right here, which there's not. There's a black potion. Which, by the way, with the black potion setting on, there's no poison in the world anymore. Poison was an item that when you touched it, you would lose health in the original game. Well, the black potion uses the poison sprite in the overworld, so because of that, there's no poison. That's pretty much what happened. So it's really nice. Wow, those guys drop a lot of. It's like little goblin guys. They drop a lot of health. Okay, that's good. That's good to know. It's good to kind of keep note of what enemies drop health when you're playing the randomizer. Every seed is different, right? So that's some of those notes you want to kind of take down. You know, if you're not playing like super fast or whatever, you know, then you can rate stuff down. And it's a pretty generous health items, or bread drops, I should say. But you know, that might be a thing you want to take a mental note on when you're playing. You know, in kind of a race setting, trying to set a good time. This will absolutely not be a great time because I'm taking my time, but I'm still timing myself because, you know, I want to see how I stack up. All right, well, I'm really hurt, but that's okay. We're gonna get back to town safe. I'm gonna check how close I am to the next rank. That's something I haven't really talked about, but the titles, all the names are random to like kind of funny names. I mean, Fighter is not a funny name. I think that's an actual title in the original game. But even the rank requirements, you'll notice it's like a really weird, like, see what next experience? That means we'll get our next rank at that, like when we see the Guru, I should say, we'll get our next rank at that experience level, which is a really odd number, you know, 4214. But that's just, sometimes the randomizer just does weird stuff like that. And because it's so random, it's kind of more likely to do stuff like that. Alright, we're gonna let this guy just jump over us, because I feel like if I run into him again, I'm gonna die. So, and because I really don't want to take a death, you know, I got a decent amount of gold. I don't want to lose my experience level right now. I'm gonna visit this hospital here and get all my health back. Visiting hospitals, I feel like in the original game, I wouldn't do that too often, but in Randomizer, not a bad idea, because with the random cost of shops, it could end up being cheaper than the meat shop normally is, or the food shop, whatever it is. That only heals you partially, so. Alright, we're gonna buy the cheaper wing boots, of course we are. Why would we buy them for more money? I probably will buy 2 pairs, even though there's a good chance. You know, I gotta use something here. We'll use a black potion. That's whenever I need, like, if I have too many items and I have a black potion, that's like the first thing to go. As cool as it is that an item like that is in this game now, like a brand new item that heals your magic, it's still like not like the most important thing. Health is more important than magic. I could have used the hourglass, I guess. Hourglass is the hourglass is kind of a weaker wing boots, I would say. I know that sounds weird because hourglass stops time, but it's just like usually the uses you have for it, the wing boots can also do, and then the wing boots also let you fly, which is, you know, a better thing. So that's why the wing boots are kind of just like a better hourglass. But, you know, I'll keep it. Why not? You know, I'll show it off at some point. And another quality of life change, by the way, is in the original game, the hourglass drains half your health when you use it. In this game, not the case anymore. It just straight up, like, you just use it. It's just an item now, so feel free to use those. And then we're gonna use this second Mattock here, and we're gonna go through here. Which I want to say you could actually do in the original game, because you can use the Mattock in this screen, so you probably could do what I just did. I've never tried it, but I think you can. But anyway, the Mattock can be used in like any screen in this game. And it allows for numerous shortcuts, which is really helpful for non-screen rando, because you know the layout of all the screens, or you know you will eventually. But because I know the layout of all the screens, I can kind of use it cleverly to kind of, this next dungeon coming up, we'll be able to explore it a little faster than normal. And I guess I haven't really even touched on what the heck we're doing, right? Like, why are we even, like, what's the goal, right? What's the goal of this rando? How's it kind of stack up to other randos? If you ever play, I think the biggest comparison to, like, a randomizer that you play over and over and over again that people really enjoy is, like, Link to the Past randomizer. And this is not that. I mean, it definitely has a lot of similar elements. But I think the one thing that kind of stands apart for this randomizer is this game is very linear. It's a very point A to point B kind of game. And there's not really fast travel other than dying. And so, you know, like, oh yeah, I forgot these guys were immune to fire. Man, these guys are the worst. We picked up an elixir, by the way. We're gonna need that. But yeah, so like, if you're expecting anything like Link to the Past randomizer, it's not that. But this is a platformer. It's kind of cool that it's a platformer randomizer, you know? It fills a different niche. And I really enjoy it. If you couldn't tell, I'm a big fan of it. I love this game already, so I love the randomizer, possibly even more, you know? It's a real good time. But, you know, it has things like, you know, items shuffling around and whatnot. And that's another thing I haven't really talked about, is the items are shuffled in, this is probably like the biggest feature of a lot of randomizers, but the items are shuffled in this. However, any items that are out in the world, in even some of the key items, they're in beginner mode, they're not going to be in the shops. So, like something like the Dragon Slayer, for instance, which is like the best weapon in the game, that won't be in the shops in beginner mode, but in standard, it could happen. But this Joker key, which is normally a gift item, we call them gift items that you get from like the Guru in the upcoming dungeon normally, those can be in the shops. And similarly, items in the shops could be a gift item instead. So that's kind of neat. We're going to need this key to go down below. But because I'm kind of broke right now, I could sell wing boots. Unfortunately, these red potions don't go for a lot. I'm just gonna hold off right now. I'll come back and I'll get that. So I'm not gonna worry about it right now. I will at some point, but it's not really necessary. So I'm just gonna move on here. Gonna set my save. We still haven't ranked up, right? I'm how close am I? Oh, I'm like 24. Okay, we're gonna rank up here. All right, there we go. let's go get a new rank. We had to literally defeat one enemy, so let's rank up from nerd to peasant. What a rank up! That sounds like a downgrade to me, but you know, in the context of randomizer. You know what else we should see? Because like I'm right here and my gold isn't crazy right now. We should start select, because your starting gold with every rank is also randomized now. So this could be more than what we have. It's not, but it could have been. We could have gotten more money. So you notice up there, the pendant. That's an item that would normally be in the world, so it can be shuffled here. In the original game, this makes you weaker due to a bug that makes you start with the pendant. If you've played Faxanadu, you probably know what I'm talking about. Anyway, it works properly in the randomizer, so we get the pendant, we're stronger now. So, you know, we'll pick it up, because why would we not? You know, we're gonna get higher attack power. We're gonna love that. Which is pretty funny, because now we're pretty on par for where you would normally be in the game. We got the long sword, we got the strength you would normally have in the vanilla game. The only thing we have is a spell that you wouldn't normally have, but other than that, not really a huge deal. So let's use the jack key here. We're going to Tower of Fortress. Now, we can skip a ton of this right now using some wing boots, which I'm going to do. Hopefully this doesn't, you know, get me in the end, but I'm gonna see if an item spawns here, possibly some more wing boots. It's just an hourglass, so we're gonna move on. Oh, I shouldn't have done this because I'm gonna miss whatever gift item is here now. Oh no. Oh, wing boots. Okay. Darn it. That would have been good. We could have gotten like unlimited wing boots from that NPC if we would have went down first and activated the Sky Spring. So that was my mistake. I forgot that was a thing you had to do. That's a really helpful quality of life thing in this, by the way, is the NPCs, like, the requirements, like, for them, like, you know, you need to activate the Sky Spring to get that item. You would in the original game, too, but now you just know that now. Oh, I'm not gonna make this shortcut, am I, now? So if I let these wing boots last longer, if I had more of them, you know, I could still just say screw it and do it anyway, but I probably won't. Alright, so let's activate this spring. We need the elixir to do this, so we picked that up right before the last town. I don't know if you saw that. So I have a spot on the tracker for the springs here. That's what that sage is right there, so that's why I had the little elixir clicked there. The Sky Spring I have noted by the wing boots, and then there's Joker House, which I have denoted by the Joker key. I kind of didn't want that as a... the Joker key one as a thing on my tracker, only because, like, there's another Joker key on it, which is why I kind of made those icons a little smaller, but that's what I went with, so. Now, the Tower Fortress, this dungeon, it's loaded. There's lots of stuff here, so you definitely want to explore it fully. And I also just realized that we were talking about, like, what's the point of playing this randomizer, and then I went into a tangent about Link to the Past rando. We didn't really talk about what we're doing. So we're trying to defeat the evil one. That's the requirement of every randomizer seed. That's the boss of the game. So, you know, pretty standard, makes sense, you know, defeat the boss of the game. It makes sense as the final objective, right? The requirements to get to that door that the final boss is behind can vary seed to seed. Normally on standard mode, you would have to have the Dragon Slayer equipped, like standard randomizer mode. In beginner friendly, you don't need anything. You just need to get there. Now that being said, that doesn't necessarily mean we won't need the Dragon Slayer, because the Dragon Slayer actually locks one of the items. But odds are we won't. It's a pretty good chance we won't need it. Alright, I'm really hoping there's wing boots in here, if only because, like, okay, good. Because I really didn't want to have to come back in here for more wing boots. They're pretty pricey. Alright, so we're gonna load up, because we need more of these. Wing boots are just a great item. You know, I feel like you don't really use them enough in the original game. They kind of lock them behind lofty requirements, gold and whatnot. And also because, like, sometimes they spawn, they spawn in certain screens that you might not know where they are because of how weird the overworld items are in Faxanadu. So, you know, they're great. They're the best item in the game, absolutely. There's a reason why, like, on the box art for the game, it's like, it says, like, it's like, I think it's, what does it say? Daggers and wing boots await you, and mantras and monsters. Like, it's one of the things on the cover of the game. They knew. They knew it was important. Alright, this is unfortunate, as we have this rock dropping enemy, so I'm actually gonna use the hourglass right here. And so this enemy still drops boulders, but only 4 will appear with the hourglass, and they won't move, so I'm kind of using that because that enemy is just, like, the worst. Alright, and he's dropping he's blocking a Mattock, so I'm not gonna worry about it. Oh, man, they hurt so much. There's another item past that boss, normally an elixir, but in the randomizer, it could be anything. But because it didn't appear, I guess I haven't talked about this at all. Because it didn't appear, it's nothing important. Key items, like the pendant, for instance, we saw the pendant. Anything that's like a one-of-a-kind item, they will always show up. So that way you don't have to defeat all the enemies to find out, like, if there's, like, an important item. In beginner friendly, they always show up. In standard mode, they do unless there's a boss on screen, which is pretty cool. It kind of plays, you know, it makes it feel like the original game where you have to defeat a boss to get a cool item. So, you know, bosses can still lock it in standard mode, but in beginner friendly, you don't have to worry about any of that. It's going to appear, so we've only seen the pendant in the overworld. Like, we can still see, like, the black onyx, the magical rod, and then all 3 pieces of the Dragon Slayer set we haven't seen. I always go back and forth on what to call it. I don't know if I call it the battle set, I like to call it, because, like, 2 parts of it are called battle, you know? You got the battle suit and the battle helm. So sometimes I call it the battle suit, or set. Sometimes it's called the Dragon Slayer set, because, you know, the weapon's more iconic. You know, it's the Dragon Slayer, right? It's the sword. Everyone loves the sword, right? But I don't think it has an official name for the collection, because that's not really a thing, so. But anyway, let's go back here. Let's buy that Joker key, because we need it to activate one of the springs. And then that's like all of our money. So I guess I'm not getting an elixir. I'm not gonna worry about it. I'm not getting another pair of boots. And we will do all of the stuff before the Joker spring. I mean, I guess I could do it first, but oh man, this is such a oof. They're like all flying enemies. Like non-flying enemies could have appeared in this screen. That's feels kind of annoying, honestly, that happened. I don't know if it would be faster to go through the Joker house first and then like death warp back up. Whatever. I'm not really gonna lose sleep over it. Well, there's the Dragon Slayer. Speaking of the Dragon Slayer, we were talking about that not too long ago. Alright, we've got the Dragon Slayer, so like I said, we don't technically need it for beginner-friendly mode, but, you know, it's always good to have. Is this anything? This is wing. You know what? We'll grab another pair of wing boots. Because like I said, you can never have too many pairs. You know, they're good to have. Also, the wing boot timer, if you ever play the original game, you might notice as you play through the game, the timer actually, like the max timer you have actually goes down. It starts at 40, but in the original game, the max actually goes down as you rank up, which is like really weird. Like leveling up causes you to lose a stat. It's very odd. So that's a thing that's been changed. For beginner friendly, it starts at 40 and then the timer actually goes up as you rank up. And then standard mode is 30, which I think 30 is a good standard. I like 30 as a number. 40 seems a bit excessive, but whatever. It's not a huge deal. Like, it's really not. So I think 30 is a good middle ground for a timer that can increase as you level up. And leveling up might not be a thing you really do in this game. It's not terribly important for randomizer. You know, it brings up that max timer. You know, it also determines your starting gold when you die, which can be useful. And then also determines your acceleration, which I think is something you may not initially notice when you play Faxanadu. But I talk about this all the time, but I don't know. The Faxanadu hero is like a car where you have to start walking for a bit before they get up to max speed. Every 4 ranks you get, that sounds kind of weird because like there's technically like a table of ranks, but like technically every 4th rank in the game, you might not necessarily, you might skip ranks, but there's like 16 ranks in total. So every like 4, 8, 12, 16. Or maybe there's, I think 16 is the amount of ranks in the game. I'm not crazy, am I? I'm pretty sure. But anyway, your acceleration increases, and then eventually at some point, like our acceleration is actually higher than it was at the beginning of the game. And, you know, once you get up to the max rank or whatever, like you're just constantly going full sprint all the time. All right, so here's some queen keys. We're gonna load up on 3 of them. In the original game, you would not need to do this because they're optional. The towers we're gonna go into, you actually don't need to go into in the original game. You could skip any of the queen key ones. However, not, I mean, they are, I guess, optional in this too, but they could have things we need to progress. So, realistically, what we're looking for right now, I guess I should talk about this. What do we need to get to the end on non-screen rando? Well, we're gonna need the Ring of Dwarf to get through. Well, actually, okay. Hold on. What's the requirements to get through each world here? You know, because there's 4 worlds in this game. There's Trunk, Mist, Branch, and Dartmoor. And this is the end of Trunk. We're done Trunk. In order to get through Trunk, you need the Ruby Ring, and I forgot to click this, but we need. I'm gonna click this as well. Sorry, I forgot to check that I had the Joker key and that I got the last spring from the Joker house there. But you need to have all 3 of those Sage Springs activated, and you need the Ruby Ring once all 3 are activated to push this out of the way. And then you just need a Queen Key, which you can buy in the last town to progress there. So that's how we get out of Trunk. To get out of Mist, all you need is the Ace Key. In the original game, you would need the Black Onyx in order to get the Ace Key. However, oh yeah, shoot, we still have Wing Boots activated, don't we? We can just fly up to this. Hopefully I don't run out of timer. Oh! There we go. Give me that elixir. But yeah, so we could leave Mist really fast. The only thing is we still need some other items to progress, which is we need the Ring of Dwarf, like I mentioned. So we need the Ring of Dwarf and we need the Demon's Ring, which I guess technically are shop and gift items. So we don't actually... Well, hold on. We might technically need to go in dungeons still, but odds are we don't need to. Odds are those rings are in shops actually. But we need the rings to basically progress to the end of the game. That's really it. That's, you know, we don't actually need anything else. Everything else is just kind of icing on the cake. But I think what I'll do first here is there is a dungeon up there, but I'm gonna check in here and see if we can't maybe get some armor or something, or a shield, because there's new quality of life stuff with shield. There's a giant blade. I mean, I will grab that. It is a damage increase. Hey, you know what they say, the best defense is a good offense, right? So I guess we'll grab that, and we'll heal up too, because I don't wanna die. I don't think I've mentioned this at all, but the elixir item, which brings you back to full health and magic when you lose all your health. It's like a fairy in Zelda. It doesn't get used if you do like the kill switch, the start select start. So it's actually pretty cool that you can hold on to that. So if you know you're gonna like lose it and maybe you want to instead, you know, go back to start instead, you can do that as an alternative. And then you don't lose your elixir, so that's pretty helpful. All right, so yeah, what was I getting at here? So technically, the only 2 items we still need are the Ring of Dwarf to get us through Branch, and the Demon's Ring to get us to the Evil One's lair, or Zenith, I believe it's called. But the only other item that could possibly... Well, there's 2 items that could possibly be required for us to get that could lock possibly one of those items. And that's the Battle Suit and the Black Onyx. Both of those lock gift items, which are given out by a guru and just a random NPC that's near the end of Mist. And it's possible that one of those items is locked behind it. So that's kind of why I'm still checking this, because I would hate to like not go in here. You know, it turns out the Battle Suit is in here, and then, you know, oh yeah, also there's a quality of life. Oh no, yeah, screen rando's not on. Never mind. That's not a quality of life thing. Never mind. Ignore me. If you were playing with screen rando, if you fell in that tower screen there, it would lead you here. But we're not playing screen rando, so never mind. So yeah, we're looking for all the rings, basically. You know, this is Lord of the Rings, but not quite. And, you know, odds are they're probably in a shop, you know, because the shops carry more items than any of the gift items, you know, are a thing. So we want to definitely check out all the shops. And there's actually a shop up here, and this is a really annoying shop to get to. However, I could just use wing boots, but I'm really stingy about holding on to stuff, even when I have a whole bunch of them. Eventually I'll get good enough at the randomizer where I remember that I don't need to hold on to 12 pairs of wing boots. I guess that's just that RPG mentality in me where I'm like, I gotta hold on to this item till the final boss. And, you know, by then it doesn't matter. You could have used them earlier and made the game easier for yourself. Alright. So we actually have both upgraded armors in here, the studded mail and the full plate. So we're gonna grab the better of them, which is the full plate. Also, 40 gold. That's the battle suit, I clicked the wrong thing. 40 gold for a red potion is an absolute steal. And what's funny is, I was trying to say this earlier, but I think I just said it wrong. If we sold red potions here, we would actually only sell them for 20, but if we sold them anywhere where red potions aren't sold, which I guess is nowhere, because they're sold everywhere, then they would sell for 100, so I guess never mind that. I guess the red potion is the worst item to use that example for. But in theory, if actually a key shop wouldn't sell red potions, I guess you could sell them there. Alright, there we go. I found it. I found a thing. And also that first armory, that had both the ruby ring and the ace key in it, that didn't sell red potions either, so I guess that shop also doesn't sell red potions. Every other shop does. Every other tool shop does. I call them armories sometimes. I guess they're technically tool shops. Also, we don't need to go in... Sorry, I have door rando on the brain. Normally I would check every door, but that's just an NPC house. Now, if you're playing with hints on, you might want to go to that house, because the NPCs could have an important hint. But in this, they're just going to tell me, like, something. Which, by the way, I should be talking to the NPCs just to kind of get some of those fun hints. Because, you know, there's shoutouts to random people in the community. I would like to start adding in my own custom ones, too, from this community as well. So if you have any fun hints you want to suggest, or titles, or, you know, like a thing when a potion is used, or a random item, like pretty much all the text can be replaced. So I just haven't been doing that. I didn't want to go on there. I want to go on the other one. But first we're going to see this guru here, and we're going to get our save point. But yeah, if you have any suggestions for that, I probably should have said that, like, the beginning of the video. Because no one's going to be watching this far in and say that, right? If you are, true fan, you know. Hey, there's the battle helmet, so, you know, we'll grab that. This is also known as Bird Hospital, this screen. It's the only hospital in the game that's occupied by an enemy, and normally it's like the ostrich enemy in the game, which is referred to as, that's why it's referred to as Bird Hospital. But it's also, like I said, it's the only hospital that has an enemy in it. It's also the only, it also has an item, so it's actually really helpful to remember that in the randomizer. So if you're ever playing like door rando and you come across the hospital and you don't see an item right away, that means, you know, there is something there if you kill the enemy there. So, which I think is pretty important to, you know, or it could be important. Actually, it probably won't be, because it'll be a if there's a boss in there, which I guess if you're playing on a pretty difficult setting. All right. If there's an important item in there, you'd see it right away. But hey, there could be like wing boots or something in there. You know, wing boots always a good item. So, you know, that could be in there. A potion. Oh boy, this is a terrible position for this enemy. I think, yeah, I don't have an hourglass. So in order to get up here, I would have to like tank a bunch of boulders climbing up this ladder. I'm not gonna do that, so instead, I'm gonna use this mattock here. This is really weird. We're gonna get through here, something you could normally never do in the game. And we're gonna fly up, because there's some items up here. And I'm using wing boots because I think you actually need it to get out of here. Yeah, so here we go. So there's a black potion there. I mean, I don't really need a black potion, so I'm not gonna worry about it. I'm gonna fly right over that enemy, no thanks. And there's another black potion, so I won't worry about that either. Alright, so that was a bust. But, you know, I wouldn't want to not check there, and it turns out there was something, so... Alright, and then here's the last item, which is normally the pendant in the original game. It's just an hourglass, so definitely won't be fighting that enemy for that. We're just gonna move on. So this tower was a complete bust. And that's the other thing. Because this game is so linear, if you do a gamble and just like, hey, I'm not gonna go in this tower, you really gotta do that at your own risk, because if it's something important that you need to beat the game, you're gonna have to come all the way back, which really sucks. Backtracking is definitely a thing in the randomizer, Actually, I'm gonna defeat this enemy because he's dropping health, so I could use that. That's barely anything. I shouldn't have done that. I should have just went for the wing boots. Oh well. But yeah, backtracking definitely does happen in this, and it is not fun to have to backtrack. So, you know, if you do a gamble, and a gamble is like, you know, choosing to avoid an area because you think it's gonna not have anything, you kind of have to do that at your own risk. Now with hints, by the way, hints actually make gambling a little more of a viable thing, where like a hint could tell you like, oh hey, this item, you know, is here or something like that. Like I said, we don't normally play with hints in the randomizer, but in beginner friendly they are on, and if you're playing standard you could turn them on too if you want. I think the hint system needs to be reworked though, personally. I think there's a place for them, but I think they're kind of, I feel like they could be better. I will say that. I'll just say the hint system could be better. we'll just say that. Anyway, we need to pick up some keys here. So we're gonna go get those keys. All right, get those keys. So we're gonna need a bunch of these king keys. Actually, we're gonna need like a lot. But for now, I'm gonna pick up 2 because I don't have a ton of cash. And I'm gonna see what's for sale in the armory. I'm not gonna worry about what's in here really too much, but I am gonna check it out. We got an elixir, we got the thunder spell, so you know, kind of nothing. Don't really need any of that. And then this here, like, let's see. We need Iron Knuckle for the magic shield, and that's how much experience we need to get the Iron Knuckle rank. In the original game, you can get the full plate there by getting a certain title. I can't remember what I want to say. It's Soldier. I want to say it's really dumb because you probably will buy the full plate because if you have enough money before you even get to that screen. You also just might not even be that high of a level before you get that. It's really odd game design. I really feel like that NPC should be maybe even in the town before that. But it's honestly one of the weirdest secrets in the game. But thankfully, it's been a lot more fleshed out in the rando, where it tells you exactly what you need, what item that NPC gives you, and you know, like the experience points you need to get that rank. So, you know, shouts to Notlob, or the dev of this, for putting all that information up front. I have mentioned time and time again, there's no hints in this, but NPCs that give you gifts, they will tell you what they give you if you don't have like whatever the requirement is. Okay, there's nothing in here, so we're gonna leave. There would be an item up there if there was anything, but it's nothing. It'll be like a red potion or something. It's nothing important. But yeah, if there's an item that an NPC can give you, and you don't have like the requirements for that NPC to give that item, they'll tell you what it is. Remember how we saw like, it's like, have you activated the Sky Spring? Come back for wing boots. If we had just activated, if we had the Sky Spring activated, they would have gave us the wing boots. But because we didn't, they just told us what they give you, which is really helpful, so. Ooh, Dwarf Ring for 690, there we go. All right, there's the Ring of Dwarf, required to beat this game. Where is my mouse right now? There we go. Yeah, we need the Ring of Dwarf to beat this, so that's, we're almost, we're really close. We just need the Demon Ring, and we're home free. I'm tempted to skip the next tower, but I probably won't still. How many wing boots do I have? I only have the 1 pair. I'm hoping there's some screens coming up with some items. I'm hoping that the wing boots appears in one of them, because we could really do with some. Because I don't, maybe they were for sale in the last town, but if they were, I want to say they were pretty pricey. I don't think they were. Thunder Spell was, and maybe that was it. All right, there's the battle suit. So that's really good, because that means that we have all 3 pieces of the Dragon Slayer ensemble. Oh, we don't have it yet. We have to pick it up first. Now we can equip it. I was like, oh, why is this working? So that's going to drastically increase our defense and our damage too. Damage not as much, but defense for sure. All right, what do we need? Come back for elixir? Okay, so what this means is we can skip the upcoming tower. And the reason we can skip it is because the Demon's Ring is a gift item, and that means it's not going to be in the upcoming screen. So we can just skip it completely. I think that means we can just go, actually. I think we're pretty much in go mode. We just need to find the Demon's Ring. And I think I only need the one key, too, which I have. I still need a king key. Yeah, we're actually good to go. Yeah, we can just go. So I had to do a little bit of thinking right now. But yeah, so we don't need the black onyx. And we have all the other items required for gift items, the Dragon Slayer and the battle suit. So we have that already. And the last item that we need is the Demon's Ring. So, you know, we can basically just go to the shops, and we can just go to the shops and go to the last guru. One of them, there's 2 gurus, I guess, that have items still. There's 2 gift items left, and there are 3 shops left. So the Demon's Ring is in one of those locations. So that's good to know. If we were playing standard mode, the Demon's Ring, it could be on like a regular screen like this. Which, by the way, I love. Standard mode's really cool. When you get more comfortable with Randomizer, even if you still play beginner, consider putting on mixing item types so that you have like the rings and other gift items in the world, because I think that's really cool. Beginner definitely makes it a lot more manageable, and beginner mode is just a predetermined array of settings. You can really play with any kind of settings that you want. I guess I haven't really talked about that too much. What's this guru have? Tilt. And you know what? We'll grab it because Tilt's the most powerful spell in the game. So you know, I'll pick that up. All right, and we will talk again to set my save point there. Because when you get a gift item from that guru, it actually doesn't set a save there. You have to either get a title or a password to set your save, and that's like how it is in the original game too. All right, I'm not gonna. Deluge is great. Potentially the best spell in the game, even though it's the weakest, just for how cheap it is and how easy it is to spam. But I'm not gonna worry about it. Yeah, we could just go full, like, you know, we got tilt. We could just, you know, put everything on blast right now. All right, we need the this king key for this upcoming door. So we will go on through here. And we're just kind of beelining through this because there's not a lot left. Now, there is a dungeon left. Oh, you know what? I'll pick up those wing boots. And I'm really hoping that we don't need to go into said dungeon because there's a gift item in there, and it could be required. So I'm really hoping it's not. I'm really hoping that the next shop has the Demon's Ring in it, because it kind of has to at this point. If it doesn't, then we have to go in the final dungeon, which, actually, there's 2 shops left still. Alright, so there's still 3 locations for this Demon's Ring, which we, like I said, we need it to get to the end of the game here. Alright, get out of here. Oh, why not even fight that enemy? See, that's the other thing about Randomizer is, like, you can kind of just avoid stuff. You don't have to fight everything. You definitely don't need to do this. Not a required thing. Also, some quality of life stuff. That item up there, normally, it would be hidden behind that little branch there, but they moved it out, and I think that's really good to know, because sometimes it can be hard to tell what that item is for Randomizer, and it's kind of annoying to get that item. So I think that was a good change. You know, you don't have to change everything, but I think that was a good quality of life change. Alright, Power Glove wore off. Forgot we even had it, honestly. Alright. Just running out of spots! We're running out of spots. So I have the elixir, right? So yeah, I'm just gonna completely skip this guru. I'll probably pick up the last one, just in case. But it's really not a far trek to the next shop. The end of Faxanadu, it feels really empty, but I don't know. Maybe, like, you know, in real life, a trunk is more dense than the branches of a tree. I don't know. But definitely the end of the game feels so much shorter than the beginning of it. The mist is just goes on forever, but the end of this game is, like, really fast. All right, like I said, we'll pick up this guru spot here. I really, really hope that the demon's ring is in the shop. There's a chance it's not, and we have to... It'll be in its vanilla location if it's not here. So, we'll see. It was a coin flip. Alright, it's there. Okay, we're good. Yeah, you need in the original game, you need the Dragon Slayer to beat the game. You don't need to equip it, actually. It's actually not required. But you actually need the Dragon Slayer to get the Demon Ring, which is in the final dungeon. There's a guru in there that won't give you that until you have the Dragon Slayer. And you get some lore, too, which... I feel like there's not a lot of that throughout this game. There's the Black Onyx. That would increase our defense. Not gonna worry about it. There's really no reason to pick it up. Because, really, like I said, this is the end of the seed. We can kind of just go right to the end here. We can skip a whole bunch of stuff. We are at the end of this. So, we're gonna use these wing boots here because we have plenty of time. We need a demon ring to get through these doors right here. And we can just wing boot to the end here. Like, this is what you normally do in the original game. I mean, you don't have to wing boot over here, but you can get to the end real quick with it. Oh man, that is not a friendly monster to be there. Why did it have to be this boss? Alright, well hey, died in like 4 hits. Alright, there's the final boss of the game. And I have an elixir, so even if I lose all my health, I'm not really afraid, so... And now we can spam tilt too, and there we go. And that's the Faxanadu Randumizer. I said a lot over the past almost hour now. I hope a lot of that sunk in for you guys. I hope you had a blast watching this. I hope I helped to explain a lot of what's going on behind the scenes. There's even more stuff that happens when you start changing some of the various settings. I encourage you to check out the Discord for this, which, like I said, is linked in the description, where you can just play the Seeds of the Week and have a good time, or download the program and kind of play around with it and just check out settings you like. But hopefully this was entertaining. I had an absolute blast playing it for you. With Palette Rando, it looks like the world hasn't really been saved, even though the water's flowing, but oh well. Thank you so much for watching today's video of Faxanadu Randumizer. I will be back next Saturday with another Seed of the Week. And as always, you know, more videos and streams to come. Hope you're having a fantastic day, and I hope this, you know, was a nice little bit of entertainment for you. So, thank you so much for watching. I've been OdinSpack 33, and I'll catch you on the next video. So until then, take care, and goodbye.